You know, some places are known for their calm, others for their conflict, but it's a rare place that's defined by both. This is the story of an island paradise, born from volcanoes, fought over by empires, and then, suddenly, thrown right into a Cold War crisis. This is a nation forged by both fire and spice.
It's the pre-dawn darkness of October 25, 1983. The peaceful rhythm of the Caribbean is just shattered. Thousands of U.S. troops are descending on a tiny island nation, a place most Americans couldn't even find on a map. And just like that, Grenada became the most important place on Earth.
The world just watched, completely stunned. Now, the official reason given was to protect American students and restore order after a bloody coup. But behind that was this deep-seated fear of a new communist threat right in America's backyard. So it really begs the question, right? How did this Isle of Spice become a global battleground? To understand that, we've got to look past all the smoke and politics to the island itself.
Yeah, to understand the fire, you first have to understand the island. Just picture this, a volcanic cradle in the southern Caribbean, completely lush with rainforests, and the air is just thick with the scent of spice. This is the Grenada that has captivated people for centuries.
I mean, they don't call it the Isle of Spice for nothing. Nutmeg, mace, cocoa, these aren't just crops here. They are woven right into the national identity. They're even on the flag. And this natural bounty, well, it's been both a blessing and, as you'll see, a major source of conflict throughout its history.
And all that natural wealth, it directly shapes the nation today. While tourism, drawing people to its incredible beaches, is the economic giant, agriculture, which is the island's historic heart, it's still an absolutely vital pillar. And it's all thanks to its unique geography.
And that, right there, is the core contrast of Grenada. The very volcanoes that formed this paradise, creating these stunning crater lakes and incredibly fertile soil, they also hint at a deep, powerful, and sometimes violent history that's always simmering just beneath the surface. So, to understand the fire of 1983, we have to go back. We have to trace that long shadow of empire. The island's riches, well, they made it an irresistible prize for European powers, and that set the stage for centuries of struggle.
This timeline really shows a long and rocky path. It starts with French settlement and the subjugation of the indigenous Carib people. Then control flips over to Britain. But look at 1795, Faidon's Rebellion. That's a huge one. It was this fierce uprising against British rule, a really powerful early cry for freedom. And that spirit of resistance, born from centuries of slavery and colonial struggle, it would come to define the island, right up to its independence in 1974.
Independence should have been the final chapter, right? But instead, it was just the beginning of the most turbulent period in Grenada's history. The dream of a new nation, it just fractured, and that created a power vacuum filled with radical ideas and, well, dangerous ambition.
Two men came to define this era. First, you had Eric Gary, the nation's first prime minister. His rule became bogged down by accusations of corruption and intimidation from his private militia, the Mongoose Gang. Then, in 1979, he was overthrown by Maurice Bishop, a charismatic Marxist leader who promised a totally new way forward. Bishop quickly aligned with Cuba and the Soviet Union, but his people's revolutionary government, it created its own form of control, banning all other political parties.
And this is where the revolution just devours its own. Bishop was seen as too moderate by the hardliners inside his own party, so they put him under house arrest, but he was so popular that thousands of people turned out to free him. They all marched to the army headquarters, and it was a fatal mistake. The army stormed the fort, and in a shocking act of violence, they executed Bishop and his closest supporters.
The dream of revolution was dead. In its place was a nightmare. A military junta took control and imposed a terrifying curfew. And it was this chaos, a popular leader murdered, a hardline military government in charge, and American students caught in the middle, that led directly to the U.S. invasion we saw at the very beginning.
So, after the fire of the coup and the invasion, a huge question just hung in the air. What was left? I mean, how does a nation even begin to rebuild from that kind of trauma? The answer, as it turns out, lies in the same resilience that has always defined its history.
So, the first step was political. The pre-revolutionary constitution was restored, and by the end of 1984, the country was once again a parliamentary democracy. But the challenges, they were far from over.
20 years after the invasion, a totally new kind of fire tested the island.
In 2004, Hurricane Ivan, a devastating Category 3 storm, basically flattened the country. Think about this, 90% of all homes were either damaged or destroyed. It was a blow that could have broken a nation, but Grenada endured.
And from those ashes, modern Grenada has emerged. It's a stable democracy, with an economy once again driven by its stunning natural beauty and a vibrant culture that's this amazing tapestry of its complex history. This is the nation that produces Olympic champions, like the sprinter Kirani James, and is tirelessly working to rebuild that nutmeg industry that Hurricane Ivan nearly wiped out.
So what we're left with is this incredible picture. An island forged in the heat of volcanoes, political fire, and devastating storms, yet one that always returns to its roots, resilient, proud, and rich with spice. Its story is just this powerful reminder that even in paradise, survival is a journey of constant endurance. The past is never forgotten, but the future is always being written.